Alright guys, real excited. This is my first unboxing and building video I'm going to be doing. But this is going to be the FMS Corsair. I won on FMS's Facebook contest. Let's get started. Well, the box came from the post office today and beautiful shape, no damage. Looked really good. Opened up the first box. Take a look at the second box. The graphics are quite stunning. Looking forward to getting deeper into this project. Here's the first views of what's inside of the box. Everything's well packed, well protected, all set up for shipping. And this aircraft was in excellent shape. No dents, no dings, no defects. A wonderful little warning label here. Uh, got the wings out. Got a view of the fuselage. Tails out. Everything's looking good. Nothing's bent or damaged this far. Well, here we have all the parts out of the box. Looking good. Just about ready to start actually putting it together. Went through the manual, made sure everything was there and accounted for, and let's get started. Here we take a look under the cover, make sure our servos are glued in, make sure the hardware is all there for the servos. Getting ready to install a receiver. Everything looking good thus far, so let's keep on rolling. Here we are, we got her on the bench, powered up. Make sure the prop is off. The prop should be the last thing you put on. We've got the servos all centered, and just makes things a little easier a little later once we get started with control rods, push rods, and all that. Here we have one of my little handy dandy tools. It's just a motor out of a magnet out of an old brushed motor. Often when I have a little bag of screws, instead of ripping them and watching them scatter across my shop, I'll drop my magnet in the bag, shake it, let the screws stick to the magnet, and then pull the magnet out of the bag, leaving little plastic parts behind. It also keeps my screws real handy for me as I'm continuing the build process. What I'm doing in this picture here is exercising my ailerons. Anytime you have foam mounted surfaces, you want to exercise them, move them back and forth until they start to loosen up some. It takes a lot of the strain off your servos later on. In this photo, I'm taking my X-Acto knife and making a few little slits in the hinging foam. It just makes the surfaces move just a little more freely even after exercising. Putting a couple little 1-inch or half-inch slits, 2 or 3 of them in each surface, you don't want to make sure to cut too much where it's your surface is moving floppy, but it definitely reduces again more stress off the servo, makes things respond a little quicker. Here we are. I have my straight edge running down my aileron surface, double checking it with the servos actually powered on, making sure they're centered and adjusting the clevises right away. This is a little coarse adjustment in this picture. I did have to put the control horns on. I didn't take any pictures of that. I figured that was a little boring, and most of you already know how to do that. In this picture here, you'll notice I'm sliding the tail section in, is what I've done here. I used hobby grade foam safe CA to attach it. You also notice the rudder is off to one side. In the directions, and as I found myself, I played with it a little bit. You do have to put the rudder off to one side to get the tail to slide in smoothly. If you try to force it with the rudder straight, you'll break it. In this picture, I was actually really pleasantly surprised to see under the cowl they actually had already pre-drilled 2 access holes to access the motor mount from the sides to release the motor. I've done so here just to get the motor out of the way so I can check the mount screws to make sure they're in tight. Anytime you buy an ARF or a kit, it's most definitely important to go back over every piece of hardware and make sure every screw is tight. Don't assume anything is ever tight from the factory. What we're looking at here in this photo is a little foam block I've cut out of leftover foam from the packing material. This is a little trick I've learned with my P40 and my P47 in the 800mm class. You slide the battery in, put the little foam block behind it, and then lock your canopy on. It keeps the battery from shifting in flight and messing with your center of gravity while you're flying. I've also put a little piece of clear packing tape on it. I've taped it on top, taped it on the bottom, and actually made a little fold in it so it's easier to grasp and remove from the aircraft later. This is just another view of that block. It's actually installed. You can see the battery wires coming out alongside of it. You notice I left a gap on one side for the wires to come through in the block. I also cut and contoured it to fit in there fairly snugly. So that's what we're looking at here. In the last little video clip, we watched the first complete run-up of all the servos. Everything's connected, everything's trued up. It was good enough for the first little bench test. In this photo, we see me balancing the prop. It's something that a lot of new pilots don't know to do. Usually it's not often in the manuals. It's very, very important to balance your prop. The vibration from it can cause things to loosen up in flight. It can also rob performance from your aircraft. The gyroscopic action takes power away from the motor, and it'll actually, even slightly out of balance prop will rob performance from your flight. Also rob flight time. Here we are with the battery in the aircraft with the wires disconnected. The prop has been all balanced and the hub has been balanced. We are pretty much all set to go for starting to put it on the balancing stand and see how she starts to hang. Here we see the all-important magic number. Every aircraft has one of these numbers in the manual somewhere. One of the most important pieces of information in any manual is the center of gravity. Balancing an airplane is one of the most important parts of the setup. It's something that is very little covered in the manual. As you can see here, it's pretty much just a picture. But a nose-heavy airplane is sluggish. A tail-heavy airplane is going to be a disaster. What we're looking at here is my Great Plains aircraft balancer. A wonderful tool if you're going to be getting into the hobby of RC. They're $20 to $30 depending on where you get them from. It's just simply sliding the rule down to either metric or SAE. In this case, we're going to 50 millimeters. You set the aircraft on top, put the front of the wing to the pin, and with a little luck, it's going to balance. This aircraft was a little tail heavy to begin with. You can see a little gray speck up there. That would be a 1/4 ounce of lead I've set on the nose while I have it on the stand, and it'll balance. By setting the weight on the aircraft, you can kind of see what you're going to need before you actually go about installing it. I took that 1/4 ounce of lead. I took the prop off, pulled the cowl off, and stuck the lead to the inside of the cowl and then reinstalled the cowl, as you're going to see in the next picture.
Just 5 miles a gallon, or just 5 gallons a mile. One or the other, it's really not just gas mileage. Alright, so, let's see this thing. I mean, we're not going to go far because I don't have much money to put gas in it. Yeah.
Well, we took her outside after our little run-up, did a couple little taxi tests with it, adjusted the tail wheel to the rudder a little bit, tweaked that. Everything went well. It was a little too windy to actually fly the aircraft tonight. I'm going to hopefully try to do that tomorrow night. Per my superstition, I never video a maiden flight, but the second flight, which will probably happen tomorrow night as well, if I can find a cameraman by then, we'll probably have video of that. People at FMS, thanks a lot. Enjoyed playing the contest, and was rather surprised to see how fast you guys got this airplane to me. Looking forward to buying more from you in the future.